So Space Jam is a complete. So this is be fair. This is, I know the Phantom Menace is going to be here making fun of Black Widow, but the real one to make fun of is Space Jam. Space Jam is underperforming at the box office. I think it's doing okay. Again, in nostalgia, people. Again, it's also cool to Thursday previews as well. Yeah, Space Jam: A New Legacy here. 4.1 out of 10 IMDb. Absolutely abysmal. Probably could be considered one of the worst movies of the year. Yeah, more than likely. But it's an abomination, essentially. Yeah, steals ball away from Black Widow for a $2 billion opening. Despite this, nostalgia seems to be trying to save this movie again. Despite this movie being a pile of garbage, you know, and I'm not gonna see it. I haven't even seen the first one. Why would I want to see this new one? But we have some other news here. Black Widow dropped 80%. I think maybe the Phantom Menace now has a right to complain about Black Widow now. But the rigs are still doing okay here. But the movie isn't doing as well as I thought it would be doing. But other than that, it is a symbol drop to F9 at the box office. This and F9 had a small opening, but still drops every 2% from last week. So you can give it that. So Black Widow is going to be the number 2 movie. That's like F9 was the number 2 movie. So this movie is gonna open to 32 million. And I think it's gonna have abysmal ratings, even worse than Black Widow, even worse than F9. Considering that people hate LeBron James, people hate this movie, especially considering that G.I. Joe is coming out next weekend. Yeah, again, people are saying that G.I. Joe will flop, but this movie is more likely going to be a box office failure. It's going to likely end up making 80 to 90 million domestically at the end, and it's going to likely make another 90 million from international, or even worse for international, like 70 to 80 million international. So might not even beat its budget of 161 million. It needs. We have to see how well it does internationally. But Black Widow is doing alright at the box office, but again, it's not the center of attention anymore. Escape Room is doing alright. Escape Room's doing alright, so Escape Room Champions. Again, I think everybody forgot this movie even existed. Tournament of Champions, or Escape Room 2. But at least it has better reviews than Space Jam does. But again, the first movie was already pretty bad, so no surprise this movie is just as bad as the first one. I do not ever plan on seeing it because I hated the first one. Dale. Like, for example, The Incredibles is different because everybody practically worships The Incredibles as the greatest movie of all time. And people say, oh, well, you should watch The Incredibles 2 before you hate it. But again, Escape Room 2, I don't ever plan on seeing Escape Room 2. The first one was already bad enough. But yet, Space Jam is doing okay enough at the box office. But will it save a bit of being a flop, considering the fact that the reviews are so bad for this movie, and there's still G.I. Joe, there's still Jungle Cruise coming out, where there's going to be a bigger competition. The Suicide Squad are the next 3 big movies coming out. There's also M. Night Shyamalan's Old coming out next weekend. And of course, there's still Stillwater, which there's tons of ads for on YouTube. And it's absolutely just hilarious. This movie's flopping. Again, the critics hate this movie. The people hate this movie. So it's one of those movies that nobody cares about. No one cares about this movie. And it's not too surprising people don't like this movie. I have been saying the only thing that might save this movie is nostalgia for the first. Nostalgia for the first movie might save this movie. But other than that, I think people are just going to go back to the original. Because it's another unnecessary remake, another unnecessary reboot, another unnecessary retelling. With a basketball style that absolutely nobody likes. This movie was deemed to be a recipe for disaster. So yeah, that's basically about this video. Space Jam: A New Legacy, a new flop, as well as it be called. And that's basically it about this video. Goodbye.